This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy Jay McLovin, joined with Big Glenn and Tony. How's it going, everybody? Oh, shoot.
I'm doing good, man. Looks like I'm sitting behind door number 2.
Who
Well,
you talking to? You're not live, man.
What happened? I thought it went live. It went live.
On my end, it says it never went live.
Well, shit. Let's try. I mean, I saw it. Okay, let's try it again. Pardon the interruption. Take 2.
This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jay McLovin here on the Take 2 afternoon show. Got my boy Tony, Chris, and Big Glenn. If you like our content, make sure you give us a subscribe down below on our YouTube channels at Guns and Sports Room and Elite Sports and Entertainment Network channels. What's up, everybody? Tony?
Doing great.
Just trying to stay warm. Supposed to warm up. I think we're supposed to get up close to 70 again on Saturday.
Wow, it's comfortable mid-70s here right now, which is nice considering we were in the 30s 2 days ago. Not that that's a big thing, but in Houston, that's damn near a blizzard. So take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, been a little chilly. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Let's jump right into it, guys. Let's jump right into the college football rankings. Not a whole lot of changing. Maybe a little bit in the as far as if the playoffs was to be right now, there was a couple little moves, but I'll do what the top 25 is, and then we'll talk about who would be in the playoffs right now if it was decided right now. Of course, Ohio State's still number 1, IU number 2, Texas A&M 3, Alabama 4, Georgia 5, Texas Tech 6, Ole Miss 7, Oregon 8, Notre Dame 9. Texas is 10. Right now, Texas would be in the playoffs if it ended right now. They would be in the playoffs. And the first team out would be number 11, Oklahoma. And then the second team out would be YU at number 12. Utah's at 13, 14, Vandy, 15, Miami of Florida, 16, Georgia Tech, 17, USC, 18, Michigan, 19, Virginia, 20, Louisville, 21, Iowa. Iowa only dropped a spot even though they lost to Oregon. Pittsburgh 22, Tennessee 23, 24 South Florida, 25 Cincinnati. Now, if the playoffs was to happen right now, these would be your 12 teams in. Number 1 Ohio State, 2 IU, 3 Texas A&M, 4 Alabama. They would all get byes the first round. Georgia would be 5, Texas Tech 6. Ole Miss 7, Oregon 8, Notre Dame 9, Texas 10. Miami of Florida would be in, and South Florida would be in. So that would be your 12 teams right now. There's going to be some changing, of course. I mean, Texas has got some big games coming up. If they win, they move up. If they lose, they would probably move out. I wonder, though, could Texas, and let me ask you guys, let's start there. Could Texas lose one game?
Ooh.
But when the others, and could, even with 3 losses, could they still get in? Chris, I ask you first. What do you think? Do you think Texas could still get in with 3 losses?
I don't think they'd get in with if they lose another game. The only chance they would have getting in, they would have to have a lot. They'd have to have some other teams lose as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would be the only. I mean, if they had some other teams lose it up there, maybe. Yeah, I think if they lose another game, it's going to be hard for them to stay in that top 12.
Yeah, I didn't know because I think they've got, if I'm right, I know they got Georgia and Texas A&M left. Is that the only two, Jay, or do they have one more?
No, those are the only two ranked teams they have left. I think there's another team in there, but none of it's ranked. Those are the only two opportunities they have.
Yeah, my thought was if they say they lost to Georgia by a field goal, and then they went to Texas A&M and beat Texas A&M by a touchdown, could they? I mean, of course, if you lose to Georgia, you're going to drop, but you could drop to the. Okay, if you lose to Georgia, you're 10. Let's say you drop to 13 or 14, but then you turn around and beat the number 3 team in the country. Could you get back up to number 10? I think there's a chance. Again, I think some other teams another team or two may have to lose. I don't necessarily disagree. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I think if they were to lose to Georgia or A&M, I think like Chris said, number one, that puts you out of the running to be in the SEC showdown, and then number two, like it would depend a lot on everybody else, and I just don't think they would have it. I think there's too many other good teams in there that would push them out. I think it would almost take a miraculous effort or a catastrophic meltdown in the rankings to get them back in. I just don't think that they would have enough swag or pull to get them in there, because you got to think about it. If they lose, that means that they beat Georgia and lost to Texas A&M, then that would really give them one truly legitimate win, right? I mean, you can look at the Vandy, but Vandy, I don't think that really gives you the momentum like a Georgia or A&M. So I think they absolutely need both of those wins. And I think if you have both of those wins, and you can lose the SEC showdown and still get in, but you got to get both of those wins.
I still think that they'd have a chance to get in the showdown if they won both games, because that'd give Texas A&M a loss, because right now Texas A&M don't have a loss in the conference, neither does Alabama in the conference. So, but I don't know how that would play out. I mean, I don't know if there's a tiebreaker. I don't know how that all plays out. So I think there's a chance. I really do. What do you think, Big Len? I'm not saying a great chance, but
that's a good question. I have a hard time seeing them making it if they drop another game. That having 3 losses next on the right side of that win-loss number is going to be hard to overcome in the committee's eyes, especially when one of them was against Florida. That Florida loss will probably come back to haunt them when it comes time to settle who gets in and who goes out. Because even if you split A&M and Georgia, it's just going to be an uphill climb, man. You guys are going to have to win both of those games, I feel, to get in the playoffs or even potentially be in the SEC showdown for the championship in that way.
So it's just your track. It is Georgia, Arkansas, A&M. That's their last 3 games. Out of those 3 games, the only time they got to go on the road is this coming weekend when they play Georgia. The other 2 games will be in Texas at Texas Stadium.
You know the old saying, Jay, win out, leave no doubt.
Man, I'm telling you, I think you have to win out. I just think it's going to be too much to try to overcome if they don't.
Because the committee is going to hold that loss against Florida. You guys have lost against Florida against you guys.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Bama, Georgia, it's A&M, Bama, Georgia, and then Texas. So Texas right now is in the number 4 spot in the SEC.
Yeah. If the bracket, going by the bracket right now, Texas wouldn't be in, right?
No, they would be in at number 10. They would play number 7 Ole Miss, I believe.
Oh.
Why is it the bracket I'm looking at different?
The bracket I seen, Texas was in at number 10, as of right now. The bracket
you might have the one from last week.
Yeah, the one I'm having shows Vanderbilt at 10.
That's not the one I seen. Maybe that's last week.
It says updated projections. It says right now it says the first round games would be South Florida against Georgia,
Okay.
That sounded like last week's.
Georgia Tech versus Mississippi.
Yeah, that's Georgia. The one I seen, Georgia Tech went in.
Yeah, on CBS.com, if you look at CBS.com's bracket, they do have Texas playing Ole Miss, number 10 versus number 7.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's on CBS.com.
The one I seen that was on, they showed on TV last night. It was Texas was at number 10, and they had them at against number 7, Ole Miss.
And then also NCAA.com has the same thing as well, Ole Miss and Texas. So I got to imagine that's if it was right now, as of right now, that's how it would be Ole Miss, Texas, I believe.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of changing. This is not going to hold up. I mean,
oh hell no,
there's some big things can happen. What if Oklahoma was to upset Alabama?
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that upset? That would be absolutely crazy.
So
Could you imagine if IU gets into the Big Ten title game and they shellac freaking Ohio State 55-21? You know.
I will say this: the one thing the one thing about Texas schedule rather that I'm very glad about, I want them to play Georgia and I want them to play A&M because I feel like they have to play these teams in order to get into the playoffs. Number one, but really not just by getting in the playoffs, but having credibility in the playoffs. I feel like if you don't have a tough road to get in, given the fact of how weak Texas has looked starting off this season, there's going to be a lot of people saying that, well, Texas really shouldn't be in there because of, they didn't look as strong. So I kind of feel like from a credibility standpoint, Texas needs to play these types of teams.
Well, what's tough is, Jay, I went to looking at strength of schedules. And everybody's, I mean, you could look at 10 different lists and they're all 10 going to be different. Right. None of them are the same because they use different categories. For example, I used one from teamrankings.com and it was updated 11/9/2025. And by their strength of schedule, their number one team was Alabama.
Yeah.
Strength of schedule. Number 2 was IU. Number 3, remember this by strength of schedule. Florida was number 3 because they've got a very hard strength of schedule. This is strength of schedule, not taking all wins and everything. Georgia was 4, A&M was 5, LSU 6, Oregon 7, Texas 8, Notre Dame was 9, Ohio State was 10, Auburn was 11, Penn State was 12. A lot of people give Penn State a lot of grief, but they played a pretty tough schedule. South Carolina 13. I mean, again, don't have a lot of wins, but they've played a very tough schedule. Oklahoma 14, Illinois 15, Iowa 16, Kentucky 17, Tennessee 18, USC 19, and Vandy 20. That's by straight for schedules. How hard the schedule was. But now, if you look at ESPN College Football Power Index, who takes the straight for schedule into consideration, they have Ohio State 1, IU 2, Oregon 3, Alabama 4, Notre Dame 5, Georgia 6, Texas A&M 7, Texas 8, Utah 9, and USC 10. But they all, and then I've looked at 2 or 3 other ones, and they're all different. So I don't know what to think. to be honest with you, because everybody's got a different way of computing, and it could be people that, well, I like the Big Ten, so I'm gonna compute it this way, or I like the SEC, or I like the ACC, or so I don't know what to think of that.
I know what to think of that, especially on the ESPN side of it, and we kind of seen last night when they was doing the afterthoughts of everything. We all know that ESPN likes to swing from Ohio State's nuts.
I understand what you're saying, Glenn, but and I know you don't go by last year, but Ohio State is a defending champion, and they haven't lost since then. So I don't have a big problem. And the fact is, we're gonna have a chance to play him. Yes. I mean, we're more likely, as long as we don't get upset, we're going to have our opportunity. So to me, I guess it really, as long as you make the playoffs, and especially if you get a bye the first round, I think you're in pretty good shape.
That also will mean that we would host the game down in Bloomington, but that's going to be freaking nuts.
Yeah,
I got a question for Chris, and it kind of goes back to what me and him were talking about yesterday, when we were talking about the Indiana schedule versus Texas schedule. I would really like to see more Big Ten and SEC mixing it up more in our schedules. Like Texas only
Absolutely.
played Texas only played Ohio, I think, out of the Big Ten, if I'm not mistaken. I would like to see at least, I would like to see at least 2 or 3, Big Ten games in there, and maybe 2 or 3 SEC top. Really mix it up to where, like to Chris's point, you can get a really, you can say, oh, okay, well, we did play you guys. You did play, just to kind of give it more. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
They do it for
I'm
college
trying to get it
basketball.
correct.
Like NEL play North Carolina, the Big Ten ACC challenge.
Yeah.
So I would sure love to see that in football, honestly.
It won't happen as much in football because they keep making these conferences bigger and bigger. When you have nine or 10 conference games,
Right.
It's hard to schedule. It's hard to schedule much out of conference.
Yeah. And then all the teams, IU included, Texas, all the conference, they're always going to have a couple of cupcakes on it because they don't want to take a chance. Because again, if you lose
Indiana
3
State,
games,
baby.
if you lose 3 games, your chances of making the playoff is not very good. So and you beat up on each other in your conference, so it's hard for you to play. I mean, I give Alabama and Texas credit for that game was made a long time ago.
Right.
Who knows how good the teams are going to be? I mean, especially not putting down Texas, but Texas hasn't been a powerhouse as of late, like Ohio State has been. Not trying to discredit Texas at all. I mean, they got a
you're speaking correct. I mean, when you say that, it's okay to say that because you're right. We have.
I'm just trying to be fair. But so that's going to be hard to ever happen.
Another thing is, if you take away, I know a lot of people don't like the games. I don't. Hey, sometimes I don't watch them when you get these bigger schools playing these smaller schools. But if you take them games away, you're going to kill a lot of the smaller schools.
Yeah.
The smaller schools get paid a lot of money to go play.
Yeah.
Ball State, is a good example.
I was going to say, why do you think Ball State here in Muncie went and played at Auburn, at Georgia, like knowing you're going to lose 60-0 probably, but that's how they get their money.
It pays well.
Yeah, that most definitely. Was there anything, Chris? Go to you first. Was there anything that surprised you about the rankings and the playoff bracket?
I thought Texas Tech got moved up a little high. You beat BYU. It wasn't like you beat Ohio State, Indiana, Alabama, Oregon. You beat a BYU team. So I don't know if I'd have bumped Texas Tech up in front of Ole Miss. I don't think I'd have put Texas Tech in front of Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss should have been ahead of Texas Tech. But other than that, not really. Other than I don't like the way the system is. Like as of right now, Miami, who's ranked 15th, they would be in the playoff because of the ACC gets at least one team or whatever.
Well, South Florida.
And South Florida, who's ranked 24th, would be as well. So, I mean, that's kind of weird the way that is. But yeah, but I didn't feel like Texas Tech should have moved in front of Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And there's a big game coming up too. Doesn't Georgia Tech still play Georgia?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
So that would be a huge game if Georgia Tech could pull off an upset, which I'm not saying they will, but that's a rivalry game.
Yeah, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. They just put Miami there because they're the leader right now. But with all the games left, there's a good chance of that Miami's could not be that team out of the ACC.
Some people think the team that could end up getting in, and there's going to be a lot of pissed off people because they're going to have 4 losses and they're going to be out of conference losses, is Duke. Duke's a team that they think that's got a very good chance. They talked about last night that could get into this thing and have 4 total losses, but they're going to be non-conference losses.
Yeah, they could end up winning the ACC.
Yes, and there's going to be a lot of upset people about that. But what are you going to do?
Imagine if Bama doesn't get in and Duke gets in.
My God, that'd be hilarious.
Was there anything that stood out to you, Jay?
Yeah, I just, BYU fell 5 spots in that absolutely crushing loss that they took from Texas Tech. I felt like they should, their remaining 3 games are TCU, Cincinnati at 25 or 25th ranked Cincinnati, and UCF. I don't know, man. I felt like they should have fallen out of the top 12. And that's just based on strength of schedule and the fact that the one top team that they played, they got crushed by 22 points. I felt like that should have been a little bit more of a drop, but that's just my personal opinion. That's probably the biggest one for me.
BYU could still get in too because they could end up with a rematch against Texas Tech in the conference championship, and if you win that game, they could be right back there.
There's one ranking that bothers me, and it's number 9 Notre Dame, and I'm gonna say why, and then Chris will probably give me the reason why they do this, and maybe not, but they're number 9 and they have 2 losses. One of the losses was to Miami. Miami's number 15, and if I'm correct, Miami only has 2 losses. Miami beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame don't have any great wins. I think Miami has better wins. For one, they beat Notre Dame. So
I'll give you the hell yeah. That's a good point.
So why in the hell is it just a bias? Or Chris, I'll let you go first. I don't understand it. Maybe you can explain it to me. I think Miami's only lost 2. Now I could be wrong. Maybe they lost 3, but I'm pretty sure it's 2.
I can't remember if it's 2 or 3. I know they've lost. Reason I think that they have Notre Dame ahead of Miami, even though Miami beat Notre Dame, is if you look at Miami's losses. Notre Dame's 2 losses was, they lost to Miami when Miami was ranked like 2 or 3 in the nation, and then they lost to Texas A&M on a last second field goal. Yeah. Miami lost to SMU in Louisville.
Okay.
Two teams that aren't ranked.
Louisville's ranked.
They're ranked now, yeah, but they wasn't ranked at the time.
Wasn't at the time. No, but Louisville just lost too. SMU's not ranked anymore. They're decent. They're a decent school, but yeah, I see what you're saying there. But man, I just
I think that's the 2 they lost. I think that's the main thing. The main reason is that Miami's losses are worse than Notre Dame's losses, and I don't think other than Miami got that victory against Notre Dame. Other than that, they don't have a big win.
Well, it's not a big win now, but they beat Clemson, didn't they, when they was ranked?
Yeah, but
I know Clemson's not what they were supposed. I know Clemson's not what they were supposed to be, but I mean,
and I'll tell you the main reason: the name.
Yeah, that's what I'm. See, that's my issue because Notre Dame don't have a good win. Yeah, they beat.
Think about it, man. They beat
7-1 Navy.
The only ranked team that they've beaten. USC. The only ranked team they've beaten is USC.
Yeah,
like literally, like that's it. And then they got to play. The only other game that they have that's ranked is number 22 Pitt, and that's it. Like you have like no ranked, really credibly ranked wins. I mean, I guess you put USC in there, but I don't know, man. I think with that strength of schedule and the fact that I'm right there with Chris. I think it's all about the name, the fact it's Notre Dame. I think that's really what's keeping them in there because if you look at their schedule in the losses that they have, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. What about you, Big One?
Having thoughts on it, I think it's pretty much the name and the committee is doing committee things.
Well, and the thing with them is Notre Dame being independent, you're not in a conference.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't like them, but they're really the biggest name in college football.
Yep.
I mean,
and
everybody
that.
Whether you watch college football or not, people know about Notre Dame football, like the program Notre Dame, and they got their own contract with NBC. Just everything they have set up. Like if they, as long as they don't take no bad losses, they're going to be in the playoffs almost every year.
Yeah,
and they had the 2 losses, but if you look at them, both of them are ranked teams. One of them was to the third ranked team, and Notre Dame should have won that game. They fumbled the ball at the end of the game, or they would have they were going to have a chance to kick the field goal and win. And the Miami game was a close game too. But that Texas A&M game is the thing that I think is keeping Notre Dame alive. Is that, and then they haven't lost to don't have a real bad loss on the resume.
Was Miami's other loss, was that North Carolina State?
No, I think it was SMU and Louisville.
Okay. Well, Louisville's not a terrible loss. They're decent. SMU's decent. I mean, they're decent. I mean, they're better than some of the teams Notre Dame played. but I mean, Notre Dame did win their other games.
But it really doesn't. You're right, though. It really doesn't make sense that Miami is underneath Notre Dame. Given, like you said, given the fact that they beat Notre Dame, and number two, they've beaten FSU and they've beaten well, that's probably really the only one, but yeah, a USF. That's what it was. I mean, if you look at, I don't get it. I know Chris is right about the name, but if you look at the schedule, it doesn't make sense. But again, I don't know. It's a lot of people's opinions. Everybody's got one.
Here's a counter argument that people can come up with. You're saying that Notre Dame hasn't beat nobody, but they also haven't lost to none of these teams that they're supposed to beat. Where you have other teams that lose to non-ranked teams.
Yeah. Miami was favored in both those games. They lost.
They took care of their business against the team that they should.
Well, I think Notre Dame was Notre Dame ranked higher in Miami at the time. Maybe, I'm not sure. It was close.
Yeah, I'm not sure because that was so early.
It was pretty close.
I think if they're like one or two apart, if I remember right, it was like
it was close. So yeah. But I know originally when the rankings came out, Notre Dame was ranked higher than Miami when the rankings came out. Then Miami got that.
Because Notre Dame was the national championship runner-up last year. So
because I know Miami beat Clemson and then they moved up. So and then I think Notre Dame had already lost. Which did Notre Dame lose to first? Was it A&M or Miami?
A&M.
Okay, so that Miami may have been in front of them at that time by a little bit.
When Miami and Notre Dame played, Notre Dame was 9 and Miami was 16. Miami won 27-24 on a last-second field goal.
You said Miami was what, 16?
Yep, and Notre Dame was 9.
I got a question about Notre Dame real quick.
Actually, no, that's their rankings now, isn't it? That just showed me the rankings now. So I don't know what they were ranked in.
Okay.
I got a question about Notre Dame. Because they are an independent school, are they allowed to pick their own opponents, or does somebody give it to them who they're going to play?
They make their schedule just like all the other college teams do. They just don't have to worry about, they just don't have to worry about
answering to
all the conference games.
Yep.
Yeah, they're not in a conference. See, I think everybody should be in a conference.
Yeah. Notre Dame plays it smart though with being independent because they're not going to have that extra knock against them if they don't win the conference championship.
Well, not just that. They don't have to split the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get their own.
If you're in the Big Ten or you're in the SEC, you're splitting the TV deal money with everybody in that conference. Notre Dame don't have to split that money with nobody because they're independent.
Yeah.
They said, "Give me all the money, bitches."
Guys, anything else you guys want to talk about on college football before we move on?
No, that's it for me. Unless they got something.
Okay, guys, go ahead, please.
Well, I saw in the show description it says, "Does the NCAA have it out for Indiana?"
I think that Logan put that in there because of the fact that you guys aren't number one, and Ohio's number one. It's almost like a lot of people. He was saying he feels like Indiana should be at number one.
I mean,
and just kind of like how Indiana hasn't really had a lot of recognition, and so people are now starting to recognize it. And it seems like maybe NCAA is kind of starting to come into its own, I think, sort of thing.
It's also that name. I mean, Ohio State's name, and IU don't have that name. I mean, that's what it is. And I mean, I guess it's fair.
In retrospect, I mean, honestly, and Chris, you know this. I told you, I felt like even I was one of those people that wasn't really willing to give you guys the credit because it is, a new program for you guys got. Not a new program, but it's just kind of you kind of came into your own the last couple of years, and so we're not used to seeing Indiana in these top 5 conversations, and now they're in the top 5 conversations. And I think that's kind of where the show description was talking about, like, do we have it out for them because they're new? They're like the new kids on the block now in terms of higher level conversations. So,
if
you guys start putting respect on Indiana for sure.
If you look at the wins, there's no doubt you can make an argument for IU over Ohio State. I mean, we beat number 9 or number 8 Oregon, and we beat number 21 Iowa. Both those games on the road.
You say both on the road?
Yeah, on the road.
Ohio State's best win is Texas. Texas is number 10, and that was at Ohio State. So, I mean, you can make that. I can see that argument. I mean, I don't disagree with it, but I also understand they're national champs. They beat teams, they beat the teams they're supposed to beat them, by pretty good margin for the most part. That's one thing I think it's helped IU is, for the most part, teams that they were supposed to beat, other than maybe Penn State, but the fact that they never beat Penn State before was still a big win for them. That they beat bad. I mean, they beat a team that was ranked, Illinois, who was ranked pretty high at the time.
Illinois was ranked 9th at the time.
At the time, beat them by like 55 points. So, I mean,
we beat them so bad we knocked them all the way out of the top 25.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: now that you guys are ranked number 2, and depending on if you guys, how you finish in the playoffs, like let's say hypothetically, if you get number 2 in the, let's say you make it to the title game, and you don't get it done at the title game, do you guys think that Indiana will take a step back in terms of credibility, or do you think that? I mean, because I always feel like there's going to be somebody say, "Well, Indiana shouldn't have been there." If you don't get that win, I feel like there's going to be people saying like, "Well, maybe they shouldn't have been there." And I think that's kind of where he's talking about the NCAA having it out for Indiana.
There's no way we'll be number 2. There's no way we're going to be number 2 when the college football playoffs come out. We're either going to be number 1, or we're going to be probably 3 or 4. Because here's the way I look at it: the winner of the Big Ten championship game, and the 2 teams in the Big Ten championship game, and the 2 teams in the SEC championship game,
1 through 4,
are probably going to be the top 4 teams right now. Whoever wins the Big Ten championship game between Ohio State and IU will be number 1. Whoever wins the SEC,
as long as they win out.
Yeah, I'm saying as long as these 4 teams win out, then the winner of the SEC championship game, which right now would be what, Texas A&M and
Alabama,
going by that top 4. The winner of that would be number 2, and then the 2 losers will be either 3 or 4, depending on how them games go. So to me, IU's either going to be 1 or we're going to be 3 or 4. We're not going to go in as 2, because if whoever loses that Big Ten championship game,
week 3,
I think the winner of the SEC championship game will move up to number 2.
Let me ask you something, Chris. Just for shit and giggles. Let's say Ohio State beats IU in overtime. Okay. Let's say Texas A&M. Let's say Texas A&M beats Alabama. So then you would have Alabama and IU. Let's say Alabama wins. Is going to have 1 loss to Florida State. Alabama wins, beats Texas A&M. Alabama's going to have 1 loss. IU's going to have 1 loss. IU's loss would be to Ohio State in overtime. Alabama's loss would be to Florida State. Could you make the case for IU still be number 2?
Yeah, you could if the games went like that. Yes.
I mean, but they're not a conference champion. So that would probably be why they wouldn't get up.
Hey, just to take that one step further, I feel like this game, this playoffs is very serious for IU. I think it means more for IU. Let's say IU and Ohio meet up. I think personally that this means more for IU to get the win than it does Ohio, because I think Ohio could take the loss and it's not going to hurt their credibility. It's not going to hurt their recruit. It's not going to hurt anything. But I feel like with IU, like they kind of need this to take that next level to get the legitimacy put into that, or the respect that people talk about put on your university. Do you agree with that? Or do you think that Indiana could take the loss and it wouldn't hurt their credibility in any kind of way?
I don't give a fuck about credibility. If as long as they're top four and as long as you're the top four and you get a home playoff game, it don't matter if you're 1 through 4. And I'm not just talking about Indiana, any of them 4 teams, because then you get that home, you get to host a home playoff game, and I think that's big. And okay, we lose to Ohio State. Say we lose to them by 3 points. I could care less if anybody, everybody else thinks we're still going to be a top 4 team. And guess what? I'd rather beat Ohio State in the college football playoffs than the Big Ten championship game.
Oh no, I get all that. I understand all that. I guess I'm just saying.
And if we lose to Ohio State, there's no way we're going to fall out of the college football playoffs. So to me, your main thing is getting to the Big Ten championship game, see what happens there, and then get ready for the college football playoffs. Because if you make the Big Ten championship game, you're going to be a top 4 seed. And to me, that's the main thing, is try to get that top 4 seed so you get a home game.
Could you drop out of the top 4? Let's say Ohio State was just to have a great day and we have a bad day and we get beat 35-10. Then could we move out of the top 4?
Depends on what the other game looks. Depends on what the SEC championship game will look like. What if Alabama blows Texas A&M? You know what I mean? They blow Texas A&M out as well. You know what I mean? It depends on what some of the other scores of the games look like. I think we'd really have to we'd have to look real bad for us to fall out of the top 4.
I think the old way IU falls out.
And another thing that kind of set the precedent last year was the college football playoffs committee. Last year they didn't penalize teams a whole lot that lost in the conference championship games.
Yeah,
because they want teams to want to be in that conference championship game. Because last year some coaches were saying, well, we don't even want them. I'd rather not make the conference championship game because if we lose, it could affect that. So last year, if you noticed that there wasn't a whole lot, they didn't penalize teams a whole lot for if you lost in that conference championship game. So yeah, I'd be really shocked if any of the top 4 teams moved out of the top 4 if they lost in their conference championship.
Yeah. So here's my thoughts on that, Tony. I think the only way IU moves down out of the top 4 if they take a loss, it's only going to be if they lose to Wisconsin or Purdue. If they lose to Ohio State, they'll still stay in that top 4.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit of NFL. I want to talk about the MVP race, but before we do that, a couple of news and notes real quick. One of them is that Travis Hunter is out for the season for Jacksonville, and the other one is Jameis Winston is going to be the starter for the Giants because of Dart having a concussion. Chris, your thoughts, first of all, on Winston? Let's go that route first, being the starting quarterback for the Giants.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, it'd be hard to go back to Russell Wilson, especially the way he looked when he played, and you benched him for Dart. So, and then now you got the interim coach, which I still think was a stupid move. But yeah, it doesn't. I think it's the smarter move to go with Winston than Wilson myself. When Winston when he played a couple years ago, he came in as a backup for Cleveland and stuff. He hasn't played bad. Winston wasn't a bad quarterback. He threw 30 interceptions. Yeah, he did. He also threw 30 fucking touchdown passes. And there ain't many quarterbacks in the league that can say they've thrown 30 touchdown passes in 1 year either.
Yeah.
And he was also playing in an offense for a coach that's known to take risks. His damn mantra is no risk it, no biscuit. Like Bruce Arians is going to throw the ball down the field. If you look, when Tom Brady played with Bruce Arians that first year in Tampa, Tom Brady had the most interceptions he'd had in a long time because they were trying to throw the ball down the field. Arians played an aggressive style of offense. So I think that was a little bit to do with it. But yeah, I think Winston was the right move if Dart's not healthy.
Okay, what do you think, Jay?
I think Winston should have been the quarterback the minute Dart had his first concussion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not a believer in Russell Wilson. I have not been a believer in Russell Wilson since probably the last 3 or 4 years of Seattle, before he even went to Denver Broncos, much less to New York. I think he's just a downfield passing kind of guy. I think he's a me first kind of guy. And I think there's a certain level of just him not being the guy. And I think Jameis Winston, here's my thing. If you take Russell Wilson out, only to put Jackson Dart in because you felt like Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson wasn't getting the job done for you, then when Jackson Dart does go down, why would you go back to what wasn't working for you the whole time? Why would you not then go to to Jameis Winston? And let's be honest, New York is only on the hook for $1 million on Russell Wilson. Everybody else is paying that money. But yet you're paying $5 to $7 million a year for Jameis Winston. So New York actually pays more for Winston than they do for Russell Wilson. So why would you not go with Winston the moment he had the first concussion?
Yeah. What about you, Big
I don't know,
Glenn?
that's weird.
I think putting in Jameis Winston smart because they got a good chance to finally eat a dub now and not wait. If you know what I'm saying? That little thing he does with his hands.
Okay, Big Glenn, your thoughts on Travis Hunter being out the rest of the year?
Man, that sucks. And with him being such a young talent, I think he's gonna have to dial back to having to play on one side of the ball only, not both sides of the ball when he comes back from injury.
Jay, your thoughts?
Yeah, man. That's crazy to me. Travis Hunter, we saw him get the injury back at Colorado when they had him doing going both ways on that team, and you saw that led to injury. Then you go to Jacksonville where they're using them both ways, and now you see an LCL issue. Now, luckily, it's an LCL and not the ACL, MCL, or PCL, so he only should be out 6 months. He'll be back next year. We'll be season ending, but he'll be back next year. But my problem is, where do you go from here? Now, Jacksonville has already kind of stated, well, we don't really quite know yet. We're going to, I guess they'll take a wait and see approach. Hell with that. You need to play this dude on one job only. If you want to have him come in for a spot play or two here and there, that's fine. But you cannot use him the way they're using because he's just not built for that. His body cannot handle that. And I think this is the second time that he's had injuries where he's lost time because of that. And I think when the body is telling you that you can't do a certain thing over a long period consistently or without injury, you need to start looking at that because they're going to wind up ruining this kid, and he's going to wind up really getting some serious damage when you're playing on the field that much. It's crazy.
Chris, your thoughts?
I don't think me personally, I don't think him trying to play both sides really has that much to do with the injury. If you look, yeah, they've been playing him on both sides, but it ain't like he's playing all the snaps on offense and all the snaps on defense. They've been using them sparingly on both sides. And the one time when he got hurt bad in college, that was more because he just took a hell of a shot and he had like a lacerated kidney or something. Like it didn't have nothing to do with like the wear and tear like on joints. I think this was more of a freak injury. What worries me more about it is it sounded like it was a non-contact injury, and them are the worst ones. You start getting little non-contact injuries like that. To me, that's can be an issue. But I think their main thing is get them healthy, and then decide what you're going to do with them next year. Now, if it was me, I'd be focusing more on one side of the ball and just using them on the other side more sparingly, not all the time. But we'll see what they do. If it's me, I'd be using them on the offensive side of the ball more. I don't think his build. I've been saying this since he was drafted. I don't think the way he's built, his body's made to hold up as an all-time cornerback in the NFL. I think he'd have a lot more success playing as a receiver because you can limit some of your hits and you're not trying to bring down these big ass guys. But yeah, I think it'd be smarter to concentrate more on the offensive side of the ball. But the main good thing is it wasn't one of the big ligaments, so he just got to get healed up. He already had his surgery, and he should be good to go next year.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think he should be on the offensive side of the ball, and maybe bring him in on special like nickel packages and things like that. Would be maybe 10 plays a game on defense, if that. So we'll see what happens with Hunter. One thing I wanted to circle back a little bit, it's kind of NFL and college, is there's a rumor going around because there's a picture circulating, making the rounds on the internet and TV. It was brought up on McAfee that the coach of the Giants, Dable, was out and about with a Penn State sweatshirt on. So now everybody's going crazy that Dable could be the next coach of Penn State. But there was a couple of guys pretty knowledgeable about football that think that Dable would be a fantastic hire for Penn State, and a lot of the Penn State alumni have started buzzing about, hey, yeah, if he's available, let's get him. So, Jay, your thoughts on a possibility? Right now, it's more of a rumor of Dable possibly going to Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the man has in his locker. He may have other shirts in there too. That maybe he should have wore those. Who knows? When it comes to, I don't know. I don't think he goes back to college. I still think he's going to be wind up a coordinator somewhere. A team that's definitely going to need a coordinator. The one thing I don't think will happen is I don't think he'll go to a team that's going to put him in a bad situation in terms like I don't think he would go to like a Cleveland or a Saints, where they're a team that's up and coming. I think because I feel like you're once and done, or two times and you're done. So I think he has to go somewhere where he can bounce back from this experience with New York to kind of give credibility back onto him. So I'm looking at him. I think he goes back to being an offensive coordinator, and I think it's going to be either this year or next year with an NFL team. I don't think he's going to go back to college. I just don't see that. But you never know.
Yeah, I think one reason he wears Penn State too is I think he's got a family that goes to Penn State. I think maybe a son or something, a daughter or something goes to Penn State. So I think that could also have been the reason. But you know how people are; they get speculating and stuff. Chris, your thoughts on Dable? Would he be a fit for Penn State if that was a possibility?
I think he'd be a great fit for Penn State if they could get him. His son goes to Penn State. That was one of the reasons he was wearing the Penn State hoodie.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He has a son go, but I think it'd be a smart move for Dable to go to Penn State as well. Penn State's been wanting for the last 3-4 years to try to get a good offense, an explosive offense. They've had the defense, but they ain't been able to do nothing on the offensive side of the ball. Dable's great on the offensive side of the ball. We saw what he's done with Josh Allen. And the reason I think it's a good fit for Dable, you go to a place like Penn State, they have the money. You're going to be able to get the top recruits. I mean, if he goes in there and gets the quarterback situation figured out and turns that offense around, they have a solid foundation already at defense. Like that team has a lot of 4- and 5-star recruits on it. Even I know some of them are going to be leaving this year, but you still got a good foundation there with recruits and with the alumni there that they got for the NIL money. I mean, it would be a good job. Now, whether he decides he wants to go to college or not, that we'll see how that goes. But like Jason, I don't see him wanting to jump into a bad situation in the NFL. And if that's all, if it comes down to a bad situation in the NFL with like Cleveland or one of those teams, or hey, I can go to Penn State, be the head coach, and college ball now is getting more like NFL ball where you got the NIL is basically your free agency, and it isn't all about just being out on the road recruiting all the time anymore. So yeah, I think it'd be a great hire for Penn State if they could get him. Now whether he's really interested in it or not, don't know at this time. Yeah. But yeah, I think it would be a good fit for him because they need somebody to come in there that's going to hold people accountable and can get that offense going. And you know how I felt about Dable. I think Dable's a good football coach. I think the Giants fucked up by firing him. I wouldn't have fired him. I got rid of the GM first before I got rid of him. But that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think Dable would be a great hire, and I wouldn't be shocked if they don't get him because I don't know what other college coaches out there that you would get. One thing about Dable too is that I don't think, again, I agree with you guys. He's not going to go to a bad situation, but I'm sure there'll be a couple good situations that he could go to because, for example, let's say Seattle goes to the Super Bowl this year. Teams are going to be wanting to talk to their offensive coordinator possibly, or let's say the Colts do a great job.
I'll tell you where I think Dable.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you where I personally think Dable's going to end up at. I think Brian Dable is going to be the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills next year after.
There you go, Frankie.
After Buffalo keeps collapsing this year, and Buffalo ends up moving on from McDermott. Josh Allen loved Brian Dable. Josh Allen was playing some of his best ball when Dable was offensive coordinator.
Yep.
What's to say Josh Allen don't go to that GM and owner in Buffalo if they get rid of McDermott and say, hey, I want Dable as my guy as my coach.
So what you're saying, Gonzo,
I would not be surprised if Dable didn't end up maybe being the next head coach of the Bills, especially if the Bills season keeps going like it is, because I can see them maybe moving on from McDermott.
So what you're saying, Gonzo? Yeah, I was gonna say what you're saying on that, Gonzo. That Josh Allen's going to be like Coke back in the day and pretty much pick his ex-head coach.
Could he possibly go back as offensive coordinator for Buffalo first if they don't move on for McDermott? I think that's a possibility too.
Yes, absolutely.
And I tell you another team that I think should be interested in him for offensive coordinator. Jay, I think Houston should be interested in an offensive coordinator to take him there with quarterback.
You guys
would be fools not to be interested in him as offensive coordinator.
And that's the thing too, right? So if Dable comes out and if he was to try to only look for a head coaching spot, you got to imagine he only gets one more realistic opportunity at it, right? Pete Carroll had two. I think Bill Belichick had two. Josh McDaniels had two opportunities at the Apple. So he only really has one more real opportunistic shot at being a head coach before I think he's just done as being a head coach. And then he will be regulated, I think, to offensive coordinator. So I think the only way he becomes a head coach, whether it be Penn State or whether it be NFL level, it has to be the right situation. It has to be the right guys to put him in a positive light to reclaim his career. So he's going to have to be real selective if he's going to be a head coach anywhere. I think he's better off going to be an offensive coordinator. Again, Houston, Buffalo, any one of those spots, right? It would be great for him.
What about a team, some people are talking about, Baltimore looks like they're turning things around with getting healthy. So I don't know if Harbaugh's going to be on a hot seat. But let's say Pittsburgh. A lot of people, if Pittsburgh falls apart, would Dable be a possibility for a team like Pittsburgh if they moved on from their head coach finally? Would he be a good fit there? Of course, I don't know who your quarterback's going to be, because I don't think Rodgers is going to be around after this year. That's my opinion. I don't know for a fact, of course, but that would be interesting to see somebody like Dable go to a team like Pittsburgh.
His true team.
How about the Dallas Cowboys when Dable?
Hey, look, if Dallas would take a shot at Dable, I wouldn't be mad at it. Again, I don't know how Dable would work with Jerry, or if Jerry would work with Dable. Because you got to be a certain kind of yes guy to work with him.
If I'm Dallas, I wouldn't go after Dable.
Yeah,
your head coach isn't the problem.
No, the head coach isn't the problem.
Your head coach is an offensive guy, calls the offensive plays, and you have one of the better offenses. It's not. It hasn't.
It's all defense. With Dallas,
Schottenheimer hasn't been the problem. I know people hated on him when he got the job and was making fun of him and saying he shouldn't have been. The dude's not a bad football coach. He just went in the sexy name, so nobody didn't want to give him a chance. And he's proven that.
I don't have a problem with Schottenheimer being here.
He's proven that he's a fine coach. Like it ain't like he's out there making a bunch of time management mistakes and some of the stuff we see from some of these coaches that people think are great coaches. We see them do some of the stupidest shit, but then you get a guy like this that finally gets opportunity. Everybody wanted to shit on before he ever done anything, and I think he's done a good job. Yeah, they haven't won a lot of games yet, but that hasn't been because of his coaching. That's been because the personnel they have on defensive side of the ball right now.
Yeah. I mean, because think about it. If you look at Schottenheimer, look at Cowboys, they have. If you look at their penalties, Dallas is actually a more disciplined team now than what they have been since Wade Phillips was there. I mean, you're right, Gonzo. They are playing the game well. They just don't have the defense, and that's not on Schottenheimer. That's on Jerry Jones and who he brings in for that defense. And that really falls more on Jerry on Jerry's side of it.
Well, and it's the same thing.
I was going to say, to add to your thing there, Jay, about the Cowboys being not too many penalties, that tells you that Brian's a product of his dad, Marty. Because Marty's teams were disciplined and stuff, he just couldn't get over the hump.
No, Frankie. It's not this. I know. I apologize. It's not that Dak is making him look good. It's just the fact that we are more disciplined now and better play calling on the offensive side of it. Really, I remember we used to average like 9 or 10 penalties a game.
Joe said that Dak was making him look good, not Frankie.
But, is that what it was? I'm sorry, I don't see too well. I apologize. Well, then Joe.
I was gonna say you're calling Frankie. You're calling Frankie out. He didn't even say that. But
that's all right.
I know that's my. I have Frankie PTSD, so I'm always got an automatic line ready to go at any given time.
The Bengals done it. The Bengals done it last year with their defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
they get rid of Lou Anarumo because it was all his fault. The defense was so bad. Guess what? They got rid of him. The defense. They got rid of him. Their defense got worse.
Yeah.
And look what the Colts defense is doing. It don't matter how good of a coach you are if you don't have the talent, the personnel on the team that can operate what you're trying to do, and you think people be smart enough because Bengals defense was a couple years ago. Lou Anarumo was the hot commodity as a defense coordinator. Everybody loved him because of what they had done against the Chiefs offense and all this. And then last year they decide that they're not going to pay guys on defense and they let guys go. And the defense don't look good. Well, let's boo him out the door. He was the problem. Well, he definitely wasn't the problem. Look, like I said, look what he's doing in Indy when he has some players to work with, just like what he was doing in Cincy. So, like, coaches can only do so much.
Yeah.
Gonzo, man, on the Bengals topic, you know how they are cheap and stuff, especially on the defensive side. Reminds me of how Mick Foley was with his money back in his performing days. Trying to save a penny wherever you could, and the Bengals are so much like that right now, especially on that defensive sside.
That is true, Joe. I think you probably do have a better hairline than what Frankie has. So I apologize for calling you Frankie. I didn't mean to disrespect you like that.
Okay, guys, let's move on to a little bit of NBA. Dallas Mavericks fired their general manager. Jay, your thoughts on Nico getting kicked out the door?
Well, I'll tell you, the only thing that saved Nico's job, and he lasted this long, is because Mark Cuban wasn't the majority owner anymore. When Luka got traded and they brought over AD, Mark Cuban was all over the place talking about how pissed off he was that Nico and them traded away Luka. So, the only thing that's saving his job is the fact that Mark is not the owner or the majority owner anymore. I think that really was the first sign. Again, AD, great player, but can't stay healthy for nothing. And what has he really done for that team since he's been there? Truthfully, could you imagine if they had not traded for AD and they would have had Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, and Cooper Flag? Damn, that would have been that would have a really nice big three right there. So I think Nico has made some bad choices, some bad decisions, and Dallas is still paying for that. So I think he had to go. I thought he should have gone the minute he pulled off that trade. He should have been gone.
Chris, your thoughts on this?
I think this was the stupidest move that Dallas Mavericks could have made. It don't make no sense at all, because the ownership group had to sign off on that trade. I don't care what anybody says. Nico Harrison didn't have the power to just say, I'm trading Luka, and the owners found out about it after it was over. The ownership signed off on it and approved it. If you're going to approve that, and then you don't even give the guy a chance, the guy told you his vision, you agreed with it and went with it, what his vision of the team was going to be. Well, then you don't even give it a chance to come to fruition. Beginning of this season, Anthony Davis has been hurt. Kyrie Irving hasn't played. Yeah, you got
Clay's
Cooper,
pissed.
you end up getting Cooper Flag, but that wasn't part of their vision when they traded Luka. That kind of fell into their lap. To me, this is a bad move by ownership. I still think Dallas's ownership is trying to get that team out of Dallas. I think they want that team in Vegas, and they're trying to do what they can to get that facilitated. And I think Nico Harrison got used as a scapegoat in this situation because nothing has changed from when that trade to now to be making this move now. You didn't even give it a chance. It'd be different if they were completely healthy and they were just getting killed, but they haven't had their full team out in the court yet. And you make this move. So to me, this is more the owner on the ownership than it is on Nico Harrison.
I 100% agree with you, Chris, because I think the ownership was the one that wanted him out the door and told Nico to do it. I don't think this was all Nico's idea. I think it was the ownership's idea. And I agree with it. They want to go to Vegas. They don't want to be there in Dallas. And I think Mark Cuban completely regrets
Selling the team.
selling the team like he did. I think he completely regrets it. If he knew that they was going to do what they did, I don't think he would have done it now. But Frankie, I know Frankie's happy because it helped Frankie. Frankie, your thoughts?
You want me to sit here and cry for Nico Harris?
You
I
love
don't care
Nico.
what Nico
You
Harris
love
did.
Nico.
Listen, what he did was one of the greatest moves that I could ever ask for. I don't give a damn. I
Merry
mean,
Christmas.
I was going to say Frankie's going to send Nico a Christmas card.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, I'm going to send him a thank you post and all. I'm going to send him everything that you could possibly send him.
Hey,
box
does
of
he get a gift
chocolates.
basket? Some fruit in there, maybe?
I'm going to give him
He'll send
anything.
me
You know
a-
what? I'm actually going to personally buy a Luka Doncic's Laker jersey. I'm going to put it in the basket with it so that way he can start wearing it. But in all seriousness, I'm not surprised by this move. I'm actually surprised that they didn't do this last year because you're trading away your franchise player for a guy who can't stay healthy to save his life. Yes, I could finally say that because he's no longer in the purple and gold. But like I said, I'm surprised that this happened this late. Now, what I sit here and agree with Chris. Some of it I do because ownership. You do need to sign off on a trade like this. But I've been hearing that the reason ownership okayed this was because it was Nico Harris at the GM at the time that got them to the finals, and the new ownership felt close with Nico Harris when he got them there. So when the idea of trading Luka away, and bringing in the mentality of, well, we need a defensive stronghold to get us back to where we're at. Those new owners didn't know what they were really thinking. They literally just became owners not so long ago for the Mavericks. So, I mean, when you're listening to a GM that you're believing in because he just got you to the finals, I mean, they're obviously going to sign off on it because they think that he's a great-minded person that's going to say, oh, he's making a good argument point right now. Like, Luka's like not on the court. Luka doesn't look healthy. If we could trade Luka away and get AD in here, our defense is going to be stacked. And then, maybe we can possibly, Kyrie coming back from injury, we could possibly make another final run. Kyrie comes back from injury and then he gets hurt again, out for the rest of the year. And it didn't work out in their favor. And now to start the season off, they don't look good. And, they look even worse. And it's possibly AD could be out for a really long time with his injury. So, I mean, they had to let him go because this was his decision. And it's just the ownership finally grabbed their nuts and opened their eyes and said, get out of our building. But I do agree with Chris. I do think that they are trying to get Dallas out of Dallas and send them to Vegas, like every other team wants to move to Vegas now. I'm pleased on that. Any franchise that want to move out of Texas, I'm pretty cool with that. That's absolutely amazing news.
Hey, do you think it would be better if they just kept Cooper Flag and traded away all of their top pieces for bigs and just start the rebuild all over again based off of the injury-prone players that they do have?
What's that to me?
It to anybody. I'm just asking the panel a question.
I don't think they should. Obviously, you should keep Cooper Flag, but then again, like I feel like you should still keep Kawhi. You should still keep Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis could be a solid piece for you. All you have to do is just moderate his all of his injuries. You got to make sure that guy can stay on the court. If he stays on the court, I guarantee you that this guy is going to bring you dominance on the court. Kyrie Irving, I don't feel like he's lost it yet. He could be that good veteran leadership for Cooper Flag. having him or being able to see him and Cooper Flag on the court is going to be amazing. But I don't think you should send away pieces just yet.
Yeah, I think it'd be too soon. Big Glenn, your thoughts on general manager getting fired?
I'm gonna start off with the AD comment. The only defensive stronghold that AD has is him being on the healthy injury free sheet, because he's always on the injury list. But man, I'm kind of going off the deep end on this one. I got the tinfoil hats on and everything else today, but so we'll get to this, but I won't be too long with it. I think Nico Harrison is going to end up having a job with the LA Lakers. I think that was an inside job, and to help the NBA get the Lakers back to the promised land. So, because how in the hell do you go from a 1.8% chance of winning the NBA draft lottery to get the number 1 pick? I mean, you're lucky to get into maybe the top 5, but you got the number 1 pick. I mean, it's crazy. It's like Big Glenn winning everything crazy in that way. So, but I'm not surprised that I do have to agree with what Gonzo was saying. I think they want to move the team out of Dallas to Vegas and stuff. So a lot of the stuff adds up too much to not make any sense.
Guys, we got breaking news. NBA. Bradley Beal is done for the season with a fractured hip.
Imagine that.
Damn. I think it's time for him. He might have to retire off that fractured hip. That's a pretty serious injury, especially at his age.
Yeah.
Those are some grandpa injuries, Jay.
What, man? That is insane.
Who the hell was he playing for anyway?
Clippers.
Clippers. Yeah, he's been no one's been injury prone since he got into the league. He had some good years when he was with Washington, but too few and far between.
Also, LeBron is participating in his first full practice today.
Wow. Okay. I wonder what the timetable, Frankie, do you know what the timetable is looking like for Braun since that's your team?
I did hear about a week, possibly 2. They don't want to push it too far.
Sounds like Thanksgiving.
He is going to be with the G League for rehab assignments. All we could do is just hope and pray he comes back healthy and okay. I don't need him
South
to be
Bay Lakers, baby.
Shut your mouth, Glenn. I don't need him going out there and breaking his back or anything like that. We're doing good. We don't need any prime King James. We just need a LeBron James to come in and distract defenders. That's all we need.
Here's the golden question. We can't do a show without asking this golden question. It's because this is what all the big networks and would do, especially the worldwide leader of woke sports, ESPN. Are the Lakers better without LeBron James?
Yes,
I do. I think they are better without LeBron James. I really do. This isn't even, and I'm not a huge LeBron James. I'm not a huge LeBron James fan that everybody thinks that I am. I'm really not. Obviously, when you have LeBron James on your team, you're destined to have some type of greatness, and we had ours in 2020. But right now, literally starting the season off 8-3, I feel like we do look better without LeBron James. Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves has been leading this team for success these last couple games, even when they're not on the court together, because there was a game where both of them weren't on the court together, and our backups and bench ended up, sticking together and just playing out. I think the Lakers are 100% better without LeBron James and without his, give me the ball, let me have the leadership, let me find the open man, let me do this on the floor. No, we have Luka Doncic to do that, and this is why I said in the beginning of the season I'm going to enjoy this moment without LeBron, because this is a kind of like a what are we going to look like? What are we going to look like when LeBron retires? Because now this is Luka's team, and we've seen it the last 10 games.
It's going to be like a aha moment in that way. The light bulb has come on.
Nice.
Okay, guys, you guys got anything else before we get out of here?
I do not.
Frankie, you got anything, Bubba?
Yeah, I'll save it for tomorrow mostly, but I'm gonna just sit here and say fuck the Jets. Garrett Wilson is out, and we're getting the dub tomorrow, boys. We're getting the dub tomorrow, which means Gonzo, Chris, we're gonna have that number 1 seed for at least a couple days.
If you guys win, you'll have it for at least a week because we're on our bye week this week.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, that's right,
I'll take it. Let's go. Yeah, let's go.
But watch
Hey,
you lose, Frankie. That's the real question. What if you guys lose?
We're not losing.
oh Lord.
I can literally, and Jay could quote me on this. I can literally sit here and tell you with a straight face, no lie, like we're not losing to the Jets. The same way I sat here and said we're not losing to the Bills in Week 5. I'm gonna have that same mentality. We're not losing.
If they were to lose the Jets tomorrow, Friday show is going to be hilarious when Frankie comes on here Friday afternoon.
If I don't come on, you'll know why.
I'll be sure to watch the Albany News or some shit. You know,
if I don't come on, it's most likely because I broke my phone.
Hey, it's Wednesday. I'm going to church, and I already know what's going to be at the top of my prayer list. Oh, Lord, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
I love it when unsuccessful teams wish
Please let
others.
the Patriots lose to the Jets so we can wreak havoc on Frankie on Friday.
Hey, real quick, guys. Close the show kind of on a sad note, unfortunately, but we had a Delaware County police officer get killed this morning. Unfortunately, he was out trying to help a stranded vehicle, and semi hit him and pinned him into another semi, and he passed away this morning. So prayers out to his family and to the police department and all those guys that work doing that stuff. So that was unfortunate.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
that's God, that's horrible. That is absolutely horrible. Yeah, definitely prayers will be sent up for him and his family. Before we get out of here, just wanted to say in about less than an hour from now, 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern, we will be having the Whiskey Hour with Celeste Marie Wilson, and we will be talking Alice in Chains versus the band. And do you like music? That's the one to tune into. And that'll be here on ESEN. Linktree is in the description. Without further ado, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you should do like every 2 minutes. Let's say the show's an hour long. I think every 2 minutes you should do a shot of whiskey and see how long you can last.
Oh, buddy. Well, he might be able to make it through.
No, hey, don't do that. Don't do that to that poor woman that's going to be on that show.
That's gonna be like, what the hell?
Listen, yeah, that I tried that once in my life, and I wound up naked in a ditch. So no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
Naked in a ditch.
What the hell?
Don't worry about it. It's a show for another day and another time.
Did you have a sore ass afterwards?
Shit, I would hope not.
Those things we do not talk about.
That sounds like some type of. I was in the military. I was in the army at that time.
Yeah, it's one time in Japan stories. You can never get enough of those.
In Japan, at that
was it a bazooka? Or was it M16?
This is going worse and worse.
No, that actually did not happen in Japan, though, Frankie. That actually happened in Indonesia, and no, we will not talk about that because Jay still has post-traumatic stress on those images. Okay, so that is us getting out of here today, man. I just want to say thank you to Gonzo, Big Glenn, Frankie, and Tony, man, and Joe. Appreciate you in the comments, and man, until tomorrow, man. Yeah, we outie.